Going to be replacing my trailer chains with these stronger galvanized trailer chains, and the only way to put them on my trailer, there's no bolting point, so I'm going to have to weld it up, is to weld them to the bottom of my trailer. And yes, I know you're not supposed to weld on galvanized metal, so I will take a wire wheel, and I will take all the galvanized material off the chains, because the average person doesn't realize that welding on galvanized steel can produce a lethal gas. Simple welding class. That was welding class 101. I'm not a professional welder, but I know you do not weld on galvanized metal. I'm going to be replacing these old trailer chains. It is welded under here not so well, and yes, this is a hack job. I will eventually fix that. I got some more adequate trailer chains right here. Will actually hook on and stay on with clips. So I'm going to be using my old Craftsman welding machine. I've got my welding leathers, my gloves, my helmet, my grinder, brush for the slag. Since I don't have any shielding gas, this is just a flux core machine, since the other ones are fairly expensive. But this one has welded up everything just fine. Today, with my very, very awful Australian accent, we're going to do some very dangerous work involving these dangerous trailer chains. Look how long this bugger is. Woo! And we're gonna be welding it. So I'm gonna go with my traveling extreme hat and weld up this trailer. So you come along with me today. After a little bit more research, I found where welding the chains to the bottom of the hitch isn't a good idea, and it provided a very valid point. If the trailer falls off the back of the hitch, then the road can actually wear through the weld and the chains will come unhitched. So what I plan on doing is I'm going to get a bolt that goes all the way through, or maybe some threaded rod. I haven't decided yet. And I'm gonna cut this chain, this link right here, in half, and I'm just gonna bolt the chain to either side, one on one side, one on the other, because you do want them to be able to cross at the bottom, so it will catch the hitch if it falls off. And hopefully I can show a representation of that later. So besides my grinder, there will probably be no welding associated with the safety chains, because you can change the temper of your hitch by overheating it, along with, like I said, grinding the bottom off, which, you know, the previous fabricator who had this trailer was not my job, had done. So we'll try to get these set up, and hopefully I'll get a little bit more dangle in the jangle, still have a good standoff distance from the ground, because check your local and state laws about the proper way they want trailer chains. Some require just something hooked up, some require a hook with a safety catch like this. So before you go and just take my advice, check your local laws and make sure you're not doing something that will, you know, put undue liability upon yourself that you do not need. And you also want to make sure that the chains are actually temporary, so you can take them off and switch them out if you get a bigger truck. and you need a longer chain. You need to be able to just take them off so you can have more or less chain hanging as well. So do a little research, learning as I go. My plan is to run this long carriage bolt through, and this is a 1/2 inch, so I might have to massage it, but this should lock into this chain on this side, and then I can bolt it in on the other side, so I'll be able to detach the chains. I'll also need to take 2 links out instead of 1 because there are 48 links on these chains, and I still want the 2 chains to be the same length. This is the way I'm gonna run the bolt through the hitch. I'm gonna drill out a little over 1/2 inch hole in this side and the other side, run the bolt through it. I have enough length to where I've got some safety room to cross the chains properly. Now I'm going to deburr this end that I cut off and try to straighten it up with my Eye Killer 2000. As silly as it may sound, never wear gloves whenever you go to use a grinder, because the grinder can easily suck your gloves up into the wheels. And this is my somewhat customized grinding wheel. I took it apart, repainted it. I put extra large Lexan shields on it, and I really enjoyed it. The hardest part was because this for over 20 years, to where it was halfway balanced, so it didn't vibrate itself apart, which it still vibrates a lot, but it's a whole lot better than what it was. And for those of you who wanted to know what kind of grinder I'm using the DeWalt XR brushless 20 volt. I'll have a link in the description if I can find one. It has plenty of power. It has options to stop the wheel. The bottom is easy to unscrew. It's there's no maintenance at all. For what little bit I've used, I really enjoyed this grinder. What I really love about the 20 volt system, and well, any of these battery systems in general, is just swapping them out and going right to the other drill. This one isn't the brushless one. I didn't realize that when I bought it. However, it still has a really nice Jacobs chuck. And what I like about this, the DeWalt chucks on the new one styles, is that you just pull it, you ratchet it down and it's on there. It doesn't loosen back up, which on the old ones you had to take your key and keep tightening them over and over again. But this one, you tighten it up by hand and it stays tight. I'm also not cutting the chains off until after I've done all of my drilling in case we can go back to these and work on something later. But I've got my 1/2-inch drill bit. I put a little bit of tape on it so I can meter myself, because the wires do go through here, and I don't need to go through 2 feet of metal. I just need just enough for the tip to go through, and then I'll drill from the other side in so I don't go too far. I'm also going to use some PP Blaster as a lubricant. And a lot of people don't realize that the larger the drill bit you have, the slower the drilling speed you need to be drilling at. So this has a level 1 and a level 2, which is faster. I'm going to drill on level 1 because you don't want this big drill bit to bite whenever it starts to go through. With drilling such a large hole, I needed to use a smaller bit to get the hole started. So start out with a smaller bit whenever you get to the larger bit. Well, this is my plan. I've got bolt, washer, send it through, maybe even pull the chains forward. I'm putting these washers on both ends of the chain because I don't want two dissimilar metals touching each other. I have this nut that I'm going to run on. I'm going to run this nut. I gave myself enough thread to where I can still cut that off if I need to. But I've got both chains facing forward and towards the truck, because if it did pull, it would pull this way, or it would pull the other way. This old chain off without getting into any of these wires. I'm going to leave this loop right here and try and cut these chains off. Yes, I do have safety glasses on. Let's see. This would be the best way to do this. That one's a little bit cut. Okay, they're cut enough now to where I can bend them. Okay, let's see if I can channel my inner Lou Ferrigno. I am half Italian after all. All right, turning green. All right, here we go again. Come on. Sorry about that. Got a little carried away with the Hulk strength there. Yeah. And I pitched my finger. Outstanding. All right. Chew loose. Let's see about that last link here. All right. Yeah. Bend for me, bend. Struggle with me, people. Okay. Done. Pain of death is gone. All right. And as I said in the last video, if I could change anything, it would be that I would blow the metal shavings out. I didn't, and I laid on them again. Fun. All right, here she is, all chained up. Looks like I've got enough for left and right turns so it won't bind. And this little guy, well, a quote from Super Troopers, just forget about that little guy. We'll address that ground later. But everything is tight, and I'm not going to show you me cutting that off, because I think you've seen enough sparks for one day. Give me, constructive criticism. Please comment below. I have a very good sense of humor. You're not going to make me mad, even those that are kind of mean. It's okay. I'm a grown man. It's all right. To follow up, the tires that I put on my trailer are 6-ply, load range of C at 90 psi. I got these off of Amazon as well, Max Autos. These are 480 12s, and these tires are good for 81 miles an hour according to the specs. I have a lot of highway, and we have 70 mile an hour speed limits, and I wanted a tire that was good for more than 55. I usually don't drive more than about 60 or 65 with a trailer anyway, but it gets really hot around here, and I wanted a tire that was a whole lot better than what I had. I don't know if it's just because of the design of my Dodge, but my spare tire I don't put it on my trailer, because I don't know how many times I've seen people come out and they've had a trailer tire stolen. But this is out of the sun. It's got really good grip. I don't plan on doing any Bajaing, but I've driven around. Did a round trip over 300 miles this past weekend, and the tire did not move. All kinds of driving, and it sticks right in this corner, out of the way and out of the sun, to keep it from dry rotting as much. I would just say, just rotate it every now and then, and make sure you have air in it, and that should be a good spot for your spare tire. And the average person it's just gonna walk by, and they shouldn't see it. I'll also have these tires down in the description with the Amazon link of where I got them. Best friend, he would blow his tires out all the time, because he would be driving 80-90 miles an hour down the highway and blow his tires out, when all he would need to do is get these 6-ply trailer tires that are good for 81 miles an hour. Maybe he would have had a little bit better luck with his jet ski. And these are also the DeWalt tools that I used, the 20 volt. These two are brushless. This one isn't. I would love to get a brushless drill like this, less likely for a fire. The brushless ones, they don't spark like the brushed ones. I'll try not to do too many videos plugging tools, but if I use something different in another episode than what I've used here, then I will put a link on something different that I've used, unless you guys don't mind if I keep saying these are the tools I used. It's up to you. That's why I would like feedback. And I used PB Blaster for the lubricant for me to drill that big hole in my hitch. I also have to apologize that I didn't use my welder. I was going to weld. That was the first part of my video, and I'm not going to cut it out, because projects change, ideas change, your outlook on if it's going to be safe or not, or if it's legal. Make sure and overthink your project, and make sure that you have another option if you think something is not going to be right, or if you look it up and it's like, well, that's not a good idea because of this. I'm glad I changed my mind, because I like this setup that I did a little better. And no, I did not use grade 8 hardware, because this really did not warrant it. It's not that much weight. And also grade 8 hardware, it snaps off. It doesn't bend. if there was that much of a collision, this bolt would bend, it would not break, and it should not come out. It'd probably be next to impossible to get out, but it'll just bend, it won't break. That's why I didn't try to find grade 8, because I'm not towing, you know, 20,000 pounds worth of weight with this. Thank you for those who have joined and subscribed to the Swamp Fox family. If you can give me a thumbs up, comment in the description, I'd really appreciate it. Please look for the links in the description. Become a Patreon member if you want to support the channel. And remember, family and bills come first. See you guys next time.